Not everyone's life appeared as vibrant as Luca's. From the outside, it seemed as though fortune favored him in every possible way. Born into a large, close-knit family, Luca was surrounded by an abundance of warmth and affection. His childhood was filled with memories of joyful gatherings, where every celebration was a grand affair. The house would buzz with the laughter of relatives, the clinking of glasses, and the aroma of mouth-watering dishes that his mother and aunts would prepare with loving care. These celebrations weren't just about the food or the decorations, they were about the sense of belonging, the feeling of being part of something bigger than oneself. Even though such extravagance wasn't always affordable for other families, Luca's parents ensured that their children understood the importance of family, unity, and the joy of sharing moments together, even if it meant making sacrifices elsewhere. Luca's life was one of continual success, starting from his early years. His natural aptitude for learning quickly set him apart from his peers. His parents, recognizing his potential, made every effort to provide him with the best education possible. They enrolled him in prestigious schools, where Luca thrived. He was a diligent student, always eager to learn and explore new subjects. His academic achievements earned him the admiration of his teachers and the respect of his classmates. He wasn't just book-smart, Luca was also socially adept, forming strong friendships that would last a lifetime. These friends were loyal, dependable, and always there for Luca, whether he needed help with a tough problem or a companion for a spontaneous adventure. When Luca graduated and entered the workforce, his good fortune seemed to follow him. He landed a coveted position at a well-respected company, where he was quickly recognized for his talents. His work ethic, combined with his ability to get along with everyone, helped him rise through the ranks. The company, known for its high standards, was a place where only the best could succeed, and Luca fit in perfectly. His colleagues admired him, and his superiors trusted him with important projects. The office environment was one of mutual respect and camaraderie, and Luca found himself in a team that felt more like a second family. They supported each other through challenges and celebrated each other's successes. Luca's life was a dream. He had a successful career, financial stability, and a network of supportive friends and family who cheered him on at every step. But where Luca felt most fortunate was with his wife, Sofia. Sofia had always been an enviable bride. Her beauty was striking, tall and graceful, with features that could have been sculpted by a master artist. Her dark hair cascaded down her back in soft waves, and her eyes sparkled with intelligence and warmth. Sofia was not just beautiful, she was also incredibly smart, with a quick wit and a sharp mind. She had a way of making everyone around her feel special, whether it was through her genuine interest in their lives or her ability to light up a room with her laughter. She was a wonderful dancer, her movements fluid and elegant, captivating everyone who watched her. But what truly set Sofia apart was her kindness. She had a heart of gold, always ready to lend a helping hand or offer a word of encouragement. She was the kind of woman who made the world around her better, simply by being in it. From their very first dates, Luca was determined to win Sofia's heart. He knew that a woman like her deserved the best, so he went out of his way to show her how enchanted he was by her. Every time they met, Luca would bring her a single flower, carefully chosen for its beauty and fragrance. These weren't just any flowers, they were always Sofia's favorites, whether it was a delicate lily, a vibrant tulip, or a classic rose. Each flower came with a small card, adorned with heartfelt words that Luca had spent hours crafting. "You are as beautiful as the bud of this rose," he wrote on one card. "You allure me like a flower attracts a bee," said another. These weren't just empty compliments, they were the sincere expressions of a man who had fallen deeply in love. Sofia kept every card, treasuring them as symbols of Luca's affection. As their relationship grew, so did Luca's gestures of love. When he could finally afford to buy whole bouquets and other gifts, he began writing genuine poems, comparing his beloved to goddesses and muses who had inspired mortals throughout history. He would spend hours perfecting these poems, ensuring that every word conveyed the depth of his feelings. "Your eyes shine brighter than the stars," he would whisper to her during their late-night walks. These walks were some of their most cherished moments together. They would stroll through the city streets, hand in hand, the world around them fading into the background. The soft glow of the streetlights would cast a warm light on Sophia's face, highlighting her beauty in a way that took Luca's breath away every time. They would talk about everything and nothing, sharing their dreams and fears, laughing at inside jokes, and simply enjoying each other's company. One of Luca's favorite memories was a late summer evening when they had decided to escape the city for a while. They drove out to a nearby lake, the car windows rolled down to let in the cool breeze. The sun was setting as they arrived, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Luca had packed a picnic basket with Sophia's favorite foods, fresh bread, cheese, grapes, and a bottle of her favorite wine. They sat by the water's edge, watching as the last rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the surface of the lake. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of the water against the shore and the occasional call of a bird in the distance. It was a moment of perfect peace, a snapshot of happiness that Luca would carry with him forever. After their meal, they took a boat out onto the lake, rowing slowly as the stars began to appear in the sky. The water was so still it reflected the stars, making it feel as though they were floating in a sea of diamonds. Sophia leaned against Luca, her head resting on his shoulder as they drifted along. "I could stay here forever," she whispered, and Luca, holding her close, felt the same. He knew in that moment that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, creating more memories like this, full of love and contentment. As their relationship blossomed, Luca and Sophia began to explore more places together. One particularly memorable trip was to a secluded beach that Luca had discovered years earlier. The beach was a hidden gem, nestled between towering cliffs, with golden sand stretching out as far as the eye could see. The water was crystal clear, its turquoise hue contrasting beautifully with the deep blue of the sky. They spent an entire day there, far from the worries of their everyday lives. Luca had brought along a beach umbrella, a blanket, and a cooler filled with cold drinks and snacks. As they arrived, the sun was already high in the sky, warming the sand beneath their feet. They set up their little spot, and Sophia immediately kicked off her sandals, delighting in the feeling of the warm sand between her toes. Luca watched her with a smile, feeling his heart swell with love for this incredible woman who had become his whole world. They spent the morning swimming in the calm waters, laughing as they splashed each other and floated on their backs, gazing up at the clear blue sky. Sophia was a natural in the water, moving with the grace of a mermaid, her dark hair flowing behind her as she swam. Luca loved watching her, amazed at how effortlessly beautiful she was in every setting. After their swim, they laid out on the blanket, letting the sun dry their skin as they sipped cold drinks and shared stories. As the afternoon wore on, the sun began to dip towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the beach. The light turned golden, making everything it touched glow with warmth. Luca and Sophia decided to take a walk along the shoreline, hand in hand, their feet leaving a trail of footprints in the wet sand. The rhythmic sound of the waves gently crashing against the shore provided the perfect backdrop to their conversation. They talked about their future, dreaming aloud about the life they wanted to build together. Sophia mentioned how she had always dreamed of having a small house by the sea, where they could wake up every morning to the sound of the waves and the scent of salt in the air. Luca listened intently, storing away every detail of her dream, silently vowing to make it a reality one day. As they walked, they came across a tide pool filled with tiny sea creatures, colorful fish, starfish, and even a small crab scuttling across the rocks. Sophia knelt down to get a closer look, her eyes wide with wonder as she marveled at the little world contained within the pool. Luca joined her, and they spent the next few minutes pointing out the different creatures, laughing at the crabs' determined attempts to escape their gaze. The day ended with them sitting on the beach, wrapped in each other's arms, watching the sun sink into the ocean. The sky was ablaze with colors, deep purples, fiery oranges, and soft pinks, all blending together in a breathtaking display. As the last sliver of the sun disappeared below the horizon, Sophia turned to Luca, her eyes reflecting the beauty of the sunset. "Thank you for today," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "It's days like this that make me realize how lucky I am to have you." Luca kissed her gently, his heart full. I'm the lucky one, he replied, holding her close as they watched the stars begin to twinkle in the sky. It was in moments like these that Luca knew, without a doubt, that he had found his soulmate. Many hearts were broken when Sophia chose Luca as her spouse, for she had many admirers who had hoped to win her favor. But Sophia's heart belonged to Luca, and nothing could change that. Their courtship was filled with magical moments, picnics in the park, moonlit boat rides on serene lakes, and candlelit dinners where Luca would surprise Sophia with her favorite dishes. They shared their dreams and fears, supporting each other through the challenges of their studies and the pressures of their burgeoning careers. Their love was a source of strength for both of them, and it seemed as though nothing could come between them. Years went by, and the bond between Luca and Sophia only grew stronger. They faced life's ups and downs together, always emerging with their love intact. They celebrated each milestone with the same enthusiasm as they had in the beginning, whether it was a promotion at work or simply making it through a tough week. Their friends admired the way they supported each other, always putting their relationship first. Finally, Luca decided it was time to propose. He wanted the moment to be as special as the woman he was proposing to, so he planned every detail meticulously. He started the day with a visit to Sophia's favorite cafe, where they enjoyed a leisurely breakfast. They sat by the window, watching the world go by as they sipped their coffee and talked about their plans for the weekend. After breakfast, they spent the day exploring the city, visiting art galleries and wandering through the streets hand in hand. Luca had always loved how Sophia could find beauty in the simplest things, whether it was the way the light hit the cobblestones or the intricate details on a building's facade. Her appreciation for life's little moments was one of the many things that made him fall in love with her. As the afternoon turned into evening, Luca took Sophia to a new restaurant that had just opened. It was a place she had mentioned wanting to try, and Luca had made sure to book a table by the window where they could watch the sunset as they dined. The meal was exquisite, each course a masterpiece of flavors that delighted the senses. Sophia's eyes sparkled with joy as they shared bites of each other's dishes, laughing and talking about their favorite parts of the day. But as much as Luca enjoyed the dinner, his mind was focused on what was to come. After dinner, they took a stroll along the waterfront, where the city's skyline reflected off the calm waters of the river. Luca could feel his heart pounding as they walked, his nerves getting the better of him despite his careful planning. He had arranged for a fireworks display to light up the sky at just the right moment, and as they reached a quiet spot, the first burst of color exploded above them. The fireworks illuminated Sophia's face, making her look even more beautiful in the soft glow. Luca knew it was now or never. Overcome with emotion, he turned to her and, forgetting the tradition of kneeling, blurted out, "Marry me." For a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. Luca's heart raced as he waited for her response, fearing that his nervousness had ruined the moment. But then Sophia's face lit up with the most radiant smile he had ever seen, and without hesitation, she said, "Yes." Tears of happiness welled in her eyes as she threw her arms around him, her joy palpable. Luca felt an overwhelming sense of relief and elation wash over him. He held Sophia close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest as the fireworks continued to explode in the sky above them, painting the night with vibrant colors. It was as if the universe itself was celebrating their love. In that moment, Luca knew that this was the beginning of the rest of their lives together, a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. Their wedding was a grand affair, one that would be remembered by their families and friends for years to come. Held in a picturesque old church nestled in the countryside, the ceremony was the epitome of romance. The church's tall, arched ceilings and stained glass windows created an atmosphere of timeless beauty. As Sophia walked down the aisle, all eyes were on her. She was a vision in white, her dress flowing like a waterfall of silk, and her veil softly trailing behind her. Luca could hardly believe his eyes. She looked like a goddess, and he felt like the luckiest man alive. The vows they exchanged were deeply personal, written by each of them in the days leading up to the wedding. As Luca spoke, his voice filled with emotion, he promised to love and cherish Sophia for the rest of his life, to be her partner in every sense of the word. Sophia's vows were just as heartfelt, expressing her gratitude for the love and joy Luca had brought into her life. There wasn't a dry eye in the church as they sealed their vows with a kiss, the beginning of their journey as husband and wife. The reception that followed was nothing short of spectacular. Set in the gardens of a grand estate, the party lasted well into the night. The gardens were adorned with twinkling fairy lights, and tables were set with elegant floral arrangements that filled the air with their fragrance. There was music, dancing, and an abundance of delicious food and drink. Guests mingled under the stars, celebrating the union of two people who were clearly meant to be together. Luca and Sofia led the first dance, moving in perfect harmony as their guests looked on with admiration. The joy on their faces was undeniable, and it was clear to everyone present that they were deeply in love. After the honeymoon, which they spent exploring the romantic cities of Europe, Luca and Sofia returned home, ready to start their new life together. Their relationship remained as strong as ever, their love deep and unwavering. They settled into a comfortable routine, sharing both the mundane and the extraordinary moments of married life. Every day brought new joys, whether it was cooking dinner together, taking evening walks in the park, or simply curling up on the couch with a good book. However, as the months turned into years, a small cloud began to cast a shadow over their happiness. Despite their deep love for one another, Sofia and Luca were unable to conceive a child. Their parents, who had been patient and understanding, began to gently hint at their desire for grandchildren. They never pressured Luca and Sofia, but the subtle reminders were there, and they couldn't help but feel the weight of expectation. At first, Luca remained hopeful. He knew that there could be many reasons for their difficulty in conceiving, and he didn't want to add to Sofia's stress. He spared no expense on doctors and specialists, ensuring that they received the best care possible. The doctors assured them that both were healthy and suggested that stress might be a factor. Luca took this advice to heart and became even more attentive to Sofia. He planned romantic getaways, surprising her with vacations to exotic destinations where they could relax and forget about the pressures of everyday life. He took her out for dinners, lavished her with gifts, and did everything he could to make her feel loved and cherished. But despite Luca's efforts, the strain began to take its toll. Sofia's once vibrant spirit seemed to dim slightly, the sadness of their situation weighing on her. Luca noticed this change and tried even harder to bring back the light in her eyes. He would take her on long walks through the city, hoping that the fresh air and the beauty of the world around them would lift her spirits. They would walk hand in hand along the riverbank, watching the boats drift by, or through the city's parks, where the trees provided a canopy of green, and the paths were lined with blooming flowers. Luca would point out the beauty in everything they saw, trying to remind Sofia of the joy they had always found in life's simple pleasures. One evening, as they walked along a quiet path by the river, Luca decided to try something different. He took Sofia to a small, secluded spot he had discovered a few years earlier, a place where the city's lights were just visible in the distance, but the noise and bustle seemed worlds away. They sat on a bench overlooking the water, the only sounds the gentle lapping of the river against the shore and the rustling of the leaves in the breeze. "Sofia," Luca began, taking her hand in his, "I know this has been a difficult time for us. But I want you to know that no matter what happens, I'm here for you. We've been through so much together, and I believe we can get through this too. You are the most important person in my life, and I will always do everything I can to make you happy." Sofia looked at him, her eyes filled with tears, but also with love. "Luca, I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me. I know how much you want a family, and I want that too. But sometimes, I feel like I'm letting you down." Luca shook his head and gently wiped away her tears. "You could never let me down, Sofia. You are my world. Whether we have children or not, nothing will change how much I love you. We will find our way, together." They sat in silence for a while, watching the moonlight dance on the water. In that quiet moment, they both felt a sense of peace, a reassurance that no matter what challenges they faced, they would face them together. As time passed, the whispers began. At first, they were just harmless comments, remarks about Sofia's new dress, her glowing complexion, her frequent visits to Luca's workplace. But soon, the tone of these comments changed. "She's spending money again. Poor Luca, she'll probably leave him soon for someone else. Look at her, some wife she is, can't even give him a child. These words, whispered behind Luca's back, began to eat away at him. He tried to ignore them, to focus on his love for Sophia, but the doubts started to creep in. Luca could have brushed off these rumors, but they planted a seed of insecurity in his heart. He began to notice things that he had never paid attention to before, the way Sophia seemed to be more secretive with her phone, the calls she would take in another room, the way she had regained her figure so quickly after childbirth. It didn't help that the twins, when they were finally born, didn't resemble him at all. Their skin was lighter, their hair curly, and their eyes didn't have the same shape as his or Sophia's. He started to wonder, could it be true? Could Sophia be hiding something from him? One day, Luca overheard a conversation that shook him to his core. Sophia was on the phone, and her words were filled with a strange mix of excitement and longing. I get goosebumps every time he speaks, she breathed out with a soft chuckle. Oh, and when he takes off his shirt, oh God, what a man. Luca's heart sank. He hadn't found time to properly take care of himself in the way he used to. He used to be fit, active, always running or going to the gym. But now, tired from long hours at work, he had let himself go. Was Sophia noticing this? Was she talking about another man? Luca couldn't ignore the signs any longer. He knew he had to confront Sophia, but he was terrified of what he might find. He began to observe her more closely, noting the subtle changes in her behavior. She still smiled at him, still showered him with affection, but there was something different about her, something distant. She was more secretive than before, taking her phone with her everywhere, and she seemed to have developed a habit of leaving the room to take calls. The doubts gnawed at Luca, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Finally, Luca decided that he had to know the truth. He couldn't live with the uncertainty any longer. He had read about ways to catch a spouse in the act of infidelity, and one method seemed simple yet effective: write a farewell letter and hide, watching to see what Sophia would do when she read it. Luca didn't want to believe that his wife was cheating on him, but he needed to be sure. He spent hours crafting the letter, pouring his heart into it. He didn't accuse Sophia outright, but he expressed his feelings of doubt and detachment, hoping that she would see the pain she was causing him. The day came when Luca decided to carry out his plan. He took time off work and waited until Sophia left the house with the twins. He placed the letter in a spot where she would easily find it, then hid in the wardrobe, his heart pounding in his chest. When Sophia returned, Luca heard the rustle of paper as she picked up the letter. There was a long silence, and Luca held his breath, waiting for her reaction. Then, he heard the soft sound of her crying. For a moment, he felt a wave of relief. Maybe she was remorseful, maybe she had realized the hurt she had caused him. But then, Sophia's crying stopped, and Luca heard her dial a number on her phone. "Hello," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes, Marco." Luca's blood ran cold. Marco? Who was this man? Sophia's next words confirmed his worst fears. "Are you coming?" "Okay, Marco, I'll wait." Luca's heart shattered. His beloved wife, Sophia, was cheating on him. As he listened, Sophia made another call. "Roberto, everything's so bad," she said, her voice filled with despair. Luca couldn't believe what he was hearing. Another man? Was she juggling affairs with multiple men? His mind raced as he tried to comprehend the betrayal. The woman he had loved so deeply, whom he had trusted completely, was carrying on with other men behind his back. Sophia made a third call. "Paolo, it's me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Yes." "No, it's something else." Luca was reeling. 3 men? How could this be happening? His world was crashing down around him, and all he could do was sit in stunned silence, listening to his wife make plans with these men. Luca's thoughts were a whirlwind of anger, confusion, and heartbreak. Should he confront her now? Should he wait until one of her lovers arrived? He was torn between wanting to burst out of his hiding place and demand answers, and the cold, calculated side of him that wanted to catch Sophia in the act, to have undeniable proof of her infidelity. Suddenly, Luca heard a car pull up outside. His heart raced as he imagined what was about to happen. The front door opened, and he heard Sophia rush to embrace someone, her sobs filling the air. Luca clenched his fists, his anger boiling over. How could she do this to him? How could she betray him so completely? He was about to step out of his hiding place when he heard another car pull up, followed by the sound of more footsteps. Luca was stunned. Were all three of her lovers here? Was he about to witness a confrontation between them? His mind raced with possibilities, but as he strained to listen, he didn't hear any shouting or fighting. Instead, it sounded like the men were comforting Sophia, speaking to her in soothing tones. Confusion overtook Luca's anger. What was going on? He couldn't wait any longer. He emerged from his hiding place, ready to confront his wife and her lovers. But as he approached the group, all the words he had prepared got stuck in his throat. Standing before him were three of his old friends, Roberto, Marco, and Paolo, men he had lost touch with after they moved to different cities. The only stranger was the man holding Sophia. As Luca's eyes locked with those of his friends, a wave of realization hit him like a ton of bricks. Two of his friends, Roberto and Marco, had thick curly hair, just like his twins. Could it be possible that one of them was the father of his children? Luca's confusion was met with equal bewilderment from his friends. They looked at him with a mix of concern and anger. Luca, explain yourself, Raphael, the least angry of the group, spoke first, stepping forward. Luca forced himself to shake off the shock and puffed out his chest, trying to mask his confusion with anger. I'm the one who has to explain. How dare you all? I'm the victim of my wife's infidelity, whom I've idolized all these years. His voice trembled with a mix of fury and desperation. What? Sophia gasped, clearly shocked by his words. Yes, indeed. Don't deny it, you cheated on me, and with whom? With my own friends. That's why the children don't resemble me. Everyone who warned me was right. Luca ranted, letting out all the suspicions and rumors that had been eating away at him for so long. His words echoed in the room, leaving everyone stunned and speechless. Finally, Sophia, finding her voice, spoke with a calmness that sent chills down Luca's spine. So that's how it is, she said, her tone icy. Luca used to love hearing this calm, composed tone in her voice, especially during arguments when she would take charge and resolve the situation with logic and grace. But now, that tone only filled him with dread. Have you lost your mind, my friend? Roberto exclaimed, disbelief etched on his face. And you haven't? Cheating on your own wife with Sophia and now trying to blame me? Luca shouted, his voice cracking with emotion. What are you talking about? Where did you get such nonsense in your head? Raphael snapped, his voice filled with anger. Sophia, is this your husband? Asked the man holding Sophia. Is this the man you've been boasting about? He's quite average, I must say. Sweetheart, I wonder why I bothered bringing beauty to a goddess like you for this. Luca frowned, his confusion deepening as he noticed the stranger's peculiar mannerisms. Paolo, Sophia said, shaking her head. Listen to me, sweetheart, as a stylist who knows a thing or two about life, okay? If your man is only looking for the bad in you, he'll find it no matter how hard you try. The man waved his hand, making an elegant, feminine gesture. You may shine like gold, but if he thinks you smell of manure, that's what you'll be to him. Who are you, damn it? Luca exclaimed, his anger now directed at the stranger. My name's Paolo, darling, but rest assured, I won't encroach on you even if you pour a bottle of tequila over me, Paolo said, bursting into laughter. Sophia always described you as a handsome man with a pure heart, but I see right through you, sweetheart. Roberto met Luca's gaze and grimly gritted his teeth. So you lied to Sophia? I didn't lie, I was testing her. She's cheating on me. Luca insisted, his voice growing more desperate. Are you an idiot? Marco shook his head, clearly exasperated. Sophia held Paolo back, her voice firm. Enough, she declared. I understand everything now. It was pointless gathering you for the alumni reunion. It was pointless trying to surprise Luca. He had already made up his mind long ago. Well, Luca, it's good that I took the kids to my mother's. They won't hear this. Don't you dare use the kids as an excuse. They clearly aren't mine if they're curly-haired. They don't even resemble me. Luca shouted, unable to control his emotions any longer. Oh, so that's it? The kids aren't yours, and your wife's cheating, and you refuse to listen? Sophia's eyes were filled with a fierce intensity as she stared him down. She was no longer the loving wife he remembered. She was a woman wronged, and Luca felt the full weight of her anger. What's there to listen to? Your empty excuses? Luca demanded, though his voice wavered. You're a fool, Luca, Roberto spat at his feet. We were trying to surprise you, Sophia continued, crossing her arms over her chest. And with your vile act, you turned it all into some nightmare. I wanted to gather our friends for a reunion, surprise you with the arrival of Raphael, Roberto, and Marco. Paolo volunteered to help me find a dress and beautify, and you're only thinking about how to accuse me of infidelity. Silence fell over the room once again, and Sophia shook her head, stepping towards her purse and heading for the door. Paolo, be a dear and take me to my mother's, Sophia asked her stylist, her voice now tinged with sadness. Of course, darling, Paolo replied, glancing at Luca with a look of disapproval before following Sophia out. Luca wanted to chase after her, to beg for her forgiveness, but his three friends stopped him. For the next few hours, Luca listened in horror as his friends explained everything, how Sophia had planned the reunion as a surprise, how she had spent weeks organizing the event, and how much she had looked forward to seeing him happy. They showed him the messages between them and Sophia, the detailed plan she had made, and the effort she had put into making everything perfect. As they spoke, tears of guilt and regret streamed down Luca's face. He had let his insecurities and the poisonous words of others destroy the beautiful life he had built with Sophia. For the first 2 days, Sophia didn't answer his calls. Luca was left alone with his thoughts, tormented by the realization of what he had done. He replayed the events in his mind over and over, wishing he could take back every word, every action that had hurt her. On the 3rd day, he couldn't take it any longer. He went to her mother's house with a huge bouquet of her favorite flowers and knelt at the door. When Sophia opened it, he looked up at her with tear-filled eyes. Forgive me, Luca pleaded, his voice barely above a whisper. Sophia's mother passed behind her, muttering, "Fool, not a man, a fool." Luca nodded in agreement, his shame evident. A complete fool. Forgive me, Sophia, he repeated, his voice cracking. Sophia sighed heavily, and for a moment, Luca thought she would shut the door on him. But then her angry eyes softened, and she knelt down in front of him, setting aside the bouquet. Do you realize you could have lost me because of rumors? Because you believed others instead of the person closest to you? Luca could only nod, unable to speak as the weight of his guilt bore down on him. Sophia continued, her voice gentle but firm. No matter how many times I tell you, listen to your heart, not the words of strangers. I never wanted to betray you, dear, because you are the most wonderful man, kind, romantic, loving, just sometimes foolish. Luca's eyes welled up with tears as he looked into her eyes, seeing the love that still remained despite everything. He couldn't find the words to express his sorrow, but Sophia seemed to understand. She leaned in and kissed him on the lips, a tender gesture that told him she had forgiven him. As they sat there, holding each other, Luca knew that he had been given a second chance, a chance to make things right with the woman he loved more than anything in the world. He vowed to never let his insecurities or the words of others come between them again. And though he had a long road ahead to rebuild the trust he had shattered, he was determined to do whatever it took to prove to Sophia that his love for her was unwavering and true. Dear viewers, if you enjoyed the story, please support the video by liking it and leaving a comment. Thank you very much.